Good afternoon, friends. So, after a merry hour and a half wandering the market, being accosted on all sides, walked through, sat down for a little while in the shade with some bemused old men. Started walking down this way because I had found this supermarket earlier. Stopped off at a patisserie and had a coffee and a croissant and a scoop of chocolate ice cream. Came here, bought some whiskey and a couple of bits, peanut butter, stuff like that. And now I am just waiting for a tuk-tuk to take me back to my accommodation. Federal Island. Good morning, friends. So it's Monday morning, 10 to 10, and here we go again with the Nigerian embassy, round 2. I'm hoping it's going to be a simple cut and dry process now and get it done. Be a refreshing change of pace. Anyway, so as I said a little while ago, I'm now in a new time zone, so I'm essentially on British time, British summertime. And that means this: I will no longer be starting classes at 6 o'clock in the morning, which of course is 8 o'clock in the morning Czech time. So I do have a class at 11. So my bright idea was to come here. There is a Sofitel just along the way there, and there are 1 or 2 other options in the area where I can do my patented walk into a hotel like I own the place, order a coffee, sit down and work. That is my hope. I will keep you posted. Okay, the saga continues. So, the immigration officer, who was actually at his desk, nice guy actually, and he is currently putting the physical visa into my passport, which is good because it means I don't have to come back again. Happy about that. But then he said, "So do you have the transaction fee?" I'm like, "What?" Oh yes, 50,000 francs, local currency, is the transaction fee. I was like, that's in addition to the other transaction fee, for which I had the receipt. So that means, in addition to the $166 for the visa and the digital transaction fee, there's the embassy transaction fee, which is another 50. More than that, actually. And I said to him, this is the most expensive visa I've obtained in my life, and that's me talking. And he says, "Oh, you think that's good?" And he pulls out a file and shows me the prices for, I applied here. I got this, and I filled in an online application, which is the cheapest possible option. If I had applied from Britain and with a multiple entry visa, it would have been $900 American. Woo! Which is a spicy meatball. Anyway, the upshot is I'm walking along to the ATM, so I didn't have 50 on me. I've got a nice breeze in my face, the sun's out, I've got tea. I'm going to get a moto taxi back. But as I say, that's a big one jumped. Expensive, too expensive. But I don't have much of a choice to go through Nigeria. So there's that. Anyway, okay, I'm doing pretty well today, and I came to have Indian meal cooked by a lovely African lady who's fully qualified. She has a certificate. Cooked me an amazing meal. When I went to pay, and this is a fairly common issue actually, they didn't have change. And so I paid 8 instead of 7. And the young lady was like, well, you can come back in and get it next time. I'm like, well, I'm leaving on Friday. But I'm fairly close by. That was a 5-minute hop from the Sofitel that I was at. And I figured it's a high protein, really, really good meal. So I'll do that, get my money back, and then maybe go back to the Sofitel for my next 2 classes in in an hour and a half. Because obviously a Sofitel will have crystal clear Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi at my accommodation is a little bit patchy, and it has been a little bit of a concern, especially with some of my students who work from home, if it would be viable. And I'm professionally responsible, so I'm going to do that. Seems solid. Now, this is what I mean by mildly sketchy. And there's more. Right, so nearly back at the hotel now. So, actually a fairly extravagant day, which is the last for a while, because I have to offset that extra 50k payment to the Nigerian embassy. So, the rest of the week is going to be very frugal. But that magnificent feast, I realise, of course, that 99.9% of anyone who watches this is never going to come to Cotonou in Benin. But for the 0.1% who might, the place is called Davia, and it's in the Tokbahoho area of Benin. It's on Google Maps, and it's absolutely fabulous. This lovely matriarch of a lady with a huge, I think literally family, and she just cooks the most fantastic Indian food. That costs 7k, which is just under $10 American, which is, as I say, quite extravagant for me. Which is about the same as two coffees cost in this hotel, which I'm about to get my second. I'll then settle in for 2 hours, do my classes, and then head back to the ranch. Total outlay today, not including the 50k for the Nigerian embassy, $21. Yeah, and as I say, I'm just going to be living very frugally for the next few days to offset that 50k. I'm still on the fence as to whether the guy just kept it himself. I mean, you know, TIA. Yeah. Anyway. You know, few things make me happier than a hologram on a visa. I've had worse offices for the day. I am now done. It's 4 p.m. I finished work. Splish, splish, splish. Look at this. I'm tired, but it has been a perfect day, really. I got everything done. Ducks in a row, tic-tac-toe, and had a fantastic meal. Came back here, taught 2 classes, and, you know, had 1 coffee, several glasses of very nice mineral water. And as I say, 3 hours work in a place like this for $10 American. Good deal. Plus, of course, a 25% tip for the hospitality staff, because they were very nice to me. Okay, I've got 2 minutes to walk to my place. So a quick word about moto taxis. Now, moto taxis are prevalent in this part of the world. Not my preferred method of transportation, because tuk-tuks are much more comfortable and much more fun. But motor taxis are 1/3 of the price of a tuk-tuk. And especially as I made 4 journeys today. Now, this has positives and negatives, because of course motor taxis are a little bit crazy, but I was all the way along the seafront road, which is a really good road, and it is the law in this country that not just the driver, they actually have to have, hello mate, they actually have to have a helmet for the passenger as well. The kids on the street love me. They're not used to seeing a white person, so they chase after me asking for fist bumps and high fives and just generally grinning. Like that. High five. Hello. Good. Nice. Anyway, so motor taxis are obviously much more dangerous than any other form of transportation, but it's a judgment call. Do not be afraid, because some guy rocked up today and I said, how much to I know you always say, you said before you get on, ask the price, and I was going to Tok Per Ho Ho, which is a 10-minute ride. Should be about 200, maybe 3. He asked for 2,000. I walked away. He said 1,000. I was like, no, hey, sorry. You're literally trying to fleece the white guy. So I let 2 go before the one that I took gave me a decent price. Hello, little mate. So this I got from the place at the end of the road. We have a hot dog sausage, an egg, some shredded spinach and stuff, and rice, and some spicy sauce. Big meal for one meal. So call it $1.60. And a beer for $600, which is $1. Welcome to the rest of my week. Evening, friends. So this is kind of like an OG traveller recommendation kind of thing, because something that you notice the further out you get is that people deal with much smaller sums of money. It makes sense. And when I go to the ATM, I get out X amount of money, and it's in 5,000 and 10,000 franc notes, which I just can't move in this area. You hand someone a 10,000 crown note and they'll just look at you as if you're insane. Bear in mind, 10,000 francs is about $17, and they won't change, or they have trouble changing 5. So the recommendation is this: if you can, go to an actual bank that's open, go to the ATM, withdraw your cash, go and hand it to the teller and ask them to give you smaller denominations. It's really the only way, because otherwise you'll run into stuff again and again. Ah! Okay. Sorry about that. I was accosted by the fist bump mafia. Just literally crowds, 10 kids, grinning, jumping, dancing, and going for a fist bump or high five. It's so horrible.